I would like to point out some numbers. In 2013, we had 165 customers online. Cost of operations was $178,000, over $178,000.
I don't think that's.
I don't have my phone.
Actually, I think, well, what I think is that with 165 customers, remember in 2013 is when they upped it to $10, and I think that's the number you generated.
Okay.
Those are the costs for 16 and 17, but.
Well, that's a basic number. I mean, that's a good ballpark figure.
Yeah, it should have been what was generated, but then it was still, the system was still going in the hole every month.
Thanks to the economy, because there wasn't a lot of fluctuation in our tie-in base, customer base. Thanks to our economy, in 2016, approximately 170 customers.
169, I think.
169, 170. $225,627.21. 200, almost $250,000. In 2017, $297,196.18. More than $250,000. And we still had only 170 customers online. Okay? The note that was the legacy of the 2006 legislation we now bear. None of us want to do that. None of us need to do that. Unfortunately, we are left with it. The consequences of not taking care of it are grim. Very grim.
Anybody else? Yeah, this is the council. Anybody else like to explain? Well, then, yes,
You want to tell them what we've done, we've contacted the state, and
you know more about it, if you would, please let everybody know what has been happening, not just sitting up there twiddling your thumbs.
after looking at all the numbers, I've only been acting as city administrator for about a year, but USDA was bombarding us with, requests for lots and lots and lots of information in an effort to re-amateurize or restructure the debt. So Tricia and I have worked double time to, just basically we're working for the USDA to give them everything that they ask for because it's mandatory and a requirement. And as we're looking through all these papers and looking at all these numbers, we've realized that in a 13-year period since we've been under that debt, that this small city has been able to generate over $600,000. Yes.
Okay, the exact number that the city has spent for paid to the USDA is $634,000, but only $64,000 has been applied to the principal. The rest went towards interest.
Right, and the interest rate was 4-point-something%. And when I saw those numbers, I have to be quite honest, the first thing I did was get angry. Because this is a small city and I see how much we're struggling ever since I've worked here. It's been a terrible struggle, just to maintain the system. Again, sabotage and everything's only adding to, adding insult to injury. And so I contacted Dan Flynn's office and I said, look, this is bigger than me. It's bigger than the citizens of Hot Cove. There's got to be help. Somebody's got to help us. This debt should have never happened. It was based on the projected numbers that were not true numbers. Of course, nobody foresaw the 2008 economy crash. I think that was another, problem that interjected itself. Nobody foresaw that. I think the council people at the time thought they were doing a great thing to give a public utility to their city. But there are indications from the paperwork that we've discovered that the bank told them way back then, that's a lot of debt. That's a lot of money. And the bank said, no, we're not going to cover it. The bond bond counsel says, you know, the bond attorneys are the ones that really carry, you know, carry that process for us legally. And even the bond counsel said, you know, you can do it, but it's going to be expensive. You know, I was also told that the mayor of that time in '06, you know, tried very hard to talk the council out of it because of the large numbers associated with that debt. Again, I think maybe their hearts were in the right place. I don't think that they came here intending to do harm to their city. I think they really didn't know. And if you look at the numbers and the information that was coming back from the engineers, it was the engineers that were kind of running the show, you know, that were coming in. Is that not correct?
Still no,
Oh, okay.
I'm just shaking my head because of the numbers.
Yeah, they're the ones that came up and said, you know, at that time, Quinlan was deemed the fastest growing city in the state of Texas. So, and they had every indication to believe what the guy was saying, or the company was telling them, you know. But when that 2008 economy crash hit, all bets were off. The projected numbers were no longer valid numbers. In fact, they were severely deficit. And so, you know, but the city still continued on. So $600,000 that needed to go here. You know, you drive around here, you see what it's like. That needed to go here, but it didn't. It went to the USDA at a 4% interest. The only place I can get with them is they're willing to drop the interest rate down to a poverty level of 2-point-something%, and still want to drive like $6,000 out of the account. So you can't. It's not there. You know, but it's because of, you know, this ongoing, you know, chomp away at the income, chomp away until there was nothing left. And this is what I spoke specifically to David Aronex with Dan Flynn's office. He certainly felt compelled to help us, and so he sent me to Senator Ratcliffe's office. They are requesting a lot of information from us. Everything that we can find, we're providing it for them in an effort to help us. And what I asked for was drop the debt, wipe it out, get rid of it. The people can't afford it. They can't afford it. You know, and you know, if they don't wipe out the debt, and for whatever reason the city couldn't sustain itself and closed its doors, you're all still going to pay for it. I mean, that's the truth of it. And I promise you, just like he said, I've called too and begged, and I'm not above groveling and saying, please help us. You know, now ultimately in the end, I don't know what they're going to be able to do to help us, but I do know that the Congressman's office has the power and the authority, you know, to somehow compel the USDA to drop that debt. Or maybe I'm just reaching so far out there, you know, maybe that won't be a reality, but it won't be for a lack of us trying to make that happen. If they drop the debt, then we're out from under that threat that's looming over us. You know, they could send us into receivership. If they did that and tried to sell anything that the city had towards the debt, it's not going to cover it. There's going to be a huge balance, and it's going to go on to every property owner in this town. We don't want that to happen, and if they remove the debt completely, then to me, logically, would mean that that threat that's looming over us would be gone, and the threat looming over the citizens would also be gone. You know, so that's, I mean, we've worked really, really hard. No, neither one of us live here, but you know, comments about that we don't care, that's ridiculous. I work for very little money. I'm here every day. You know, people say all kinds of stuff about me. I still come into work. You know, I'm still here. And I don't want to walk away because I don't want to see, you know, Hot Cove fail. Everybody that lives here deserves, you know, somebody to stand up for them, and I am doing that. And like I said, you know.
I have family that lives here. I grew up around here, so.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Chief. I have another point I need to make. The city's personnel and police force. Our personnel are not getting rich here. None of the council get paid to be here. None of us. In fact, it costs us money. It takes time away from work that we need to do. But we do it. We have reduced our city hours down to 3 days a week just to reduce the personnel costs. Not all of our police officers get paid, by the way. because we're also in a training environment. But we are not subsidized that way. We don't get a subsidy. Okay? Also, our staff here has contributed to the operations of the city of Hawk Cove to the tune exceeding $80,000 over the last number of years. Out of their pocket. These are the employees of the city of Hawk Cove. These are the people that are working for the citizens of the city of Hawk Cove. Again, they are not getting paid richly. But they're giving of themselves and their pockets to keep this city functioning. We have equipment that we cannot repair because we can't afford to buy a hose. A hose, a hydraulic hose. I commend and appreciate to the ends of the earth our staff of the city of Hawk Cove. Our staff and our police force are the greatest asset the city has. Okay?
I'll agree with that.
So I want to give each and every one of them a great big thank you for everything you do for us. They work endless hours, give of their own time, their own money for us. Not us, the council, us, the citizens of the city of Hawk Cove.
You're right.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
I agree.
We have a lot of good volunteers too.
Yes,
We do. We have a great bunch of citizenship. We have a few apples that just will not, just refuse to be any more than rotten. But we have some good people here too. And unfortunately, this has to be levied against them as well. I apologize for anything that has to be done that we don't like. I don't like it. I've been in a bad mood all day. My boss actually asked me about it too. And I was just on the phone with him. Excuse me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Council? Anything else? We need to get to the business at hand. Darren, man, you came up with some numbers last week. Remember what those were?
Yeah, our break even was. Yeah. Our break even at a certain point was, call it $124. $124 per month per customer.
Are you kidding? What are we supposed to do?
Order.
How are we supposed to live?
Order.
Let him finish, let him finish.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let him finish.
that is
You
enough.
shut up. I just said, let him finish.
Okay.
Don't say anything.
That's enough. If you will please, let the council do what they need to do now. Go ahead, Mr.
That was the break-even cost based on 2016, 2017, and 2018 to date operating expenses. At the time, we proposed a negligible increase. After crunching using those numbers, it was determined that there was no effect on it in any way. If anything, it was a detriment. So, at that time, we decided we need to readdress this situation.
And the 124 was only the sewer, that's not including the trash.
Correct. That's just the wastewater sewer bill. Not the $17 trash collection fee. Goes with it.
Now, before this meeting started, last week, I talked to a few of the citizens and just got their input. None of them's happy. I'm not. But I don't see another way out of it. I really don't. You can try to cut costs everywhere you can, everywhere you want to. We looked at those also. You're throwing water in the ocean. It literally droplets. It's not going to help. What hurt us and what's still hurting us is we don't have enough sewer customers, number one. The plant is, what, 3 times the size of what we need, 1.5, 2? Let's say 2 for the sake of argument. 2 times bigger than what we need, so one of the sides is not even being used.
Right, they told us we needed 325 more customers
Which we could handle with that pump, or with that
with that plan.
plant, thank you, not pump.
Yes.
But the other thing that's hurting us is the revenue. If I'm not mistaken, Chief, what was the 100% was supposed to go to that?
Towards the debt,
Yes,
I'm gonna add the ad valorem tax.
yes.
Somebody had said that, I was really searching for that in writing, but I do know there was a large portion of the ad valorem debt, and then a large portion of what came from the wastewater facility.
So that means what the USDA was expecting was almost every cent of taxes collected from the citizens was to go to paying that debt. That means none of it was going to pay the roads. There was nothing left.
There was nothing left.
There was nothing left. Plus the revenue from the sewer itself, whatever was not used as far as the maintenance and the chemicals and other things it has to be, was supposed to go to that too.
Right, and then in 2013, when they were given that, that number, the break-even number, and said, I believe they said it was 81 or something, but that what needed to happen is it needed to go to 90 in 2013 to cover itself. So what happened is from 2013 to present, which is 6 years, there was no rate increase, and as the cost began to elevate, that number had stayed the same to the point where the city is going in the hole. I think we figured up at least $80 per month per customer.
So that means for the last 13 years, the city and the citizens have been eating the cost of what it actually takes to maintain just back then. Nowadays, you have pumps that are not working, but this was not included in that. So for the past 13 years, you citizens have been paying, all of us, but looking at y'all have been paying. How much an extra?
No, they haven't. Like I said, in the last 6 years,
Well,
it's
that's what I'm saying.
the deficit per customer.
That's what I'm saying. The city's been eating it, which is the citizens have been eating that cost.
Absolutely, about $80 a month per customer.
That took away from a lot of the other things that the city needed.
Rhonda, do you have the confidence that both of those offices, Ralph Halls and Ratliff's, are continuing? Do you think that they
Dan
have just
Flynn's
telling you and then they don't do anything, or
No,
do you
no,
feel
I think that
confident
they
are?
have, they actually have a genuine interest. In fact, I had also spoken with the guy over at Sabine River Authority, because Dan Flynn's office called Sabine River Authority, because the city, without being able to generate, like I said, going down the hill for the last 6 years, we couldn't pay the electric bill. So the electric company was threatening to turn us off, so I panicked, and I was like, they're gonna turn off power to a public utility? Dan Flynn's office called Sabine River Authority, and Sabine River Authority said, we're not gonna let that happen. it comes to that. Also, I spoke with Savvy River Authority yesterday, and he said that, because they have all the same numbers, we're including them in what we're including to Dan Flynn's office and Congressman Ratcliffe's office, all the information that we are sending him. And he said that he was going to send me over, Savvy River Authority is going to send me over some engineers, qualified engineers. They want to take a tour of the system, of the plant, the manholes, the default deficit everywhere, everything to do with that plant, and see if they can figure out, some ways to make that better, and then attempt to assist us to get it into a, more appropriate state. So that could work two ways. We don't know how that's going to turn out, but the fact that, yes, I have every confidence, I believe them.
Still, the better thing about it, we still don't know how long that's gonna,
We don't know how long it's going to take.
6 months, a year, or 10 years.
We don't know. I mean, and that's, I wish I could answer that question, and I don't know. And I don't know 100% whether they can, make them remove it, if they're going to make them, or I don't know that. But I do know that they're definitely interested, and, that's, to me, that was the only avenue that I could see to try to get help from, but I believe them. Like I said, we're working double time to provide them with as much information, everything they ask us. And they're wanting to know, the whole thing about the 06, the engineers, specs, everything leading up to this point. Because he did say that that was high for the operations. They are aware, by the way, of the sabotage and all that, those instances, because that's some of the first people that I called to find out what's the prosecutable method to investigate it, So.
Thank you.
The rate increase that happens here tonight, it's not going to stop our efforts. If we can recover that, we're not going to keep it at City Hall. Any benefit will be distributed to the citizenship. Whether it be through infrastructure or directly. We're not going to say, well, that's the way it is, so that's the way it's going to be. We don't do that. Roosevelt said the buck stops here. Well, if we had a buck, we'd stop it. But this is where right here, this council, we're the one, we have to make the tough decisions. Unfortunately, but we are here to do that. Not for us, but for the entire constituency of the city of Alton.
I guess every one of y'all knows that none of the city councils even mentioned numbers yet. Nobody wants to even talk about it. But at the same time, we know we have to. This is the hardest decision this council's fixing to make. Nobody wants to even open their mouth and say what the beginning number is. It's tough. We are citizens here too. But, so, council, what is your?
I think we have to start at our break even of 124,
That's just for sewer.
just for the sewer.
You're adding trash to it, you're looking at 141. Down.
Sorry, that number again?
141.
The total bill would be 141.
That's our start.
My number's correct, chief?
I don't know. You would want to take your,
Okay. That's what's our bill, and that's our trash, right?
That was our break.
What me and Darren came up with last week.
because you also added what you found from 18. That's the numbers I have not had either. That's what I did, take your highest number there, about 12, divided by 171 customers, and see if it equals you.
Yeah, it's pretty close to that, yeah.
Okay.
But that's just a break even. So if the pumps go out, we have no extra. If somebody steals another one of the lifts, we have no extra.
That's where we are right now. We have none.
No, that's what I'm saying, at 141, there would be nothing extra. That is just to break even, that is nothing extra to replace any pump that goes bad. That does not count.
Per year.
No,
We have some minor maintenance and replacement in here, not
We
the
did.
big stuff.
yes, it was, maintenance, yeah.
Yeah, there was included in that.
Yeah, this number,
Yeah, that's where some of it came
Some
from, was.
repairs and.
Yes, yes, sir.
Some repairs are in that number, or in the 124.
That was just another repair.
No, that was this number.
Okay, then I stand corrected.
So
So,
it would include some repair.
and I know there's some people that are not gonna be able to afford that. There are a lot of people on fixed incomes. There are a lot of people that work that are still on fixed income. You get a certain paycheck a week, and you already figured out your bills. Now here goes more. So Darren's proposing minimum 141. Council, anybody like to add to that? Anything you'd like to discuss on the 141 minimum?
Total bill.
Total, that's trash and sewer.
That's no increase on the trash. Which is out of our control.
We're gonna have to increase it enough to cover the costs. That's pretty close.
It is, it already has, it's gotten,
Really.
it's gotten to that point already. Any other comments from the council? Fix the poll. Nothing else from the council? Well, then, do we have a motion to raise the sewer and trash bill to 141 a month?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I say.
We have a motion and a second to raise the sewer bill and trash from 83.25. Sorry, correct number?
No,
What's the-
83.25.
Oh, it's 80.
Oh, with the
No,
trash
it
can.
would be,
It's 80/25.
excuse me, this last week, y'all made the motion, that was 70 plus from 95 to 90%.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we get it right.
That'd be 90, they're raising it from 95 plus. That's with sewer and trash, because last week,
Okay, thank you. So what was it, 93, 95, 95? All right, we have a motion and a second to raise the trash and sewer from 95.25 per month to 141 per month. All those in favor say aye.
I'm not,
All those opposed?
I'm not, I'm not, I'm not,
Thank you,
I'm
everyone.
not.
All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. The sewer and trash will now go to 141. Ladies and gentlemen, before we adjourn, I would love to sit there and tell you we could drop the payment today. I would. I'd love to be able to pay for you. I can't. I'm gonna have to cut back on the things that my wife doesn't work. She doesn't have to, but she might have to now. can get people to try to help us, all they wanna do is hurt us. And I mean us collectively, us, the whole city, even the ones outside. You really wanna help? Why don't you try going out and talking to somebody else outside the city and see if they would wanna go annex into it? Or not even annex, or if you want something where you just get the sewer line on there. Drop all our payments. They would have city services also. Everybody's payments would go back down because it would help pay it. That's what you really wanna do, is really wanna help the city, help us. Don't you, we're not perfect. Help us. If you got suggestions, we're all here to listen.
Well, the thing is, there's not gonna be a lot of people come in, and I went to the old set of units.
Yes, that's why we,
Let's face it,
no,
COVID,
What is that increment?
because we still have a water bill to pay on top of that.
yes, we do. Still got our taxes to pay, the ones that pay it. Those of us that pay it, and that's the other thing, is the 27% that pay their taxes is carrying the other
73.
Get rid of them, that's what I say, get rid of them.
Unfortunately, you can't,
I know,
but you don't wanna
That's
kick
what I
people
say.
out of their homes either.
73%.
Thank you.
that goes to everybody
But
first.
you don't wanna just kick people out of their homes either.
Can I say something real
Yes,
quick?
ma'am, we have not adjourned yet.
You told me to tell you.
Last month, taxes, as you all are aware, we only got in $174 in taxes.
$174 tax.
Yes,
That's all we got for last
that's
month.
all we got for last month.
For last month,
Yes.
and that's supposed to run us.
But, in the, if you'll read in the 2005 memorandum from the bond council, they actually specifically said in there, back in 2005, to consider getting a water facility as well, because in the future, here we are,
Yeah.
there are going to be issues that arise because of it. So none of the steps in that memorandum were taken, period, to prevent any of this. So.
Council? Any more? No, never mind. Do we have any announcements?
I have one I'd like to make. I want to thank all of our citizens who are here with us tonight. I'd like to see more of you, more often. We want to hear what you have to say, please. We can't run it blind when we're trying to.
Thank you. Any more announcements?